But today's we are also highly interconnected with API system. The way we build, interact with, and rely on applications has changed significantly over these years. While this transformation has enhanced the user experience and broadened our capability, but it also presented new security challenges that we must address to safeguard our users, data, businesses, and also to the compliance, especially for the FSI industry. The risks to web and API security are complex, from potential data breaches and authentication risks to attack on API endpoint, highlighting the need for effective proactive security measures. Okay, so before we get into the core session of today, allow me to introduce our company for those who are not knowing us. Right, so basically, Metrics in where I'm coming from, established since 2006. We position ourselves as a consultative value-added distribution, and we have been across over 16 years in the business process automation, monetization, and security. And while we are talking about security, we are specialized in an what I call application security. So it's a slightly different from the normal cybersecurity that you know, such as like a network security, or probably you're talking about an antivirus, spam filter, and so on, right? So we are focusing on the mobile, or what I call that, in-app security. And we have a presence not only in Malaysia, even though we are a Malaysia-based company. We have a reseller partners in China, Taiwan, Japan, India, Philippines, South Korea, and New Zealand. And basically, we also to what we call that, understand that this is a learning culture is very important, especially in the technology field. So that's why we are also the members of a different association, so that we can learn and also to share our knowledge with the folks in the industry. And when it comes into our philosophy, we have this belief. We have this belief called security by design. All right. So basically, it's a core principle for us, not an afterthought. All right. So our solution is always crafted to ensure that security is embedded from the very start, and helping our customers secure the application right from the development phase. Therefore, if you look at our in-app security ecosystems, it always come into 3 layers. First thing is the development. All right. So where we have what we call the application hardening, both on mobile application and web application, such as we have solution like especially like GuardSquare, all right, and also the J Scrambler for the web application on the JavaScript. And also, as we all know that when after the application have been developed and fine-tuned, so you need to go through certain extent of vulnerability scanning. So we are working together with the scan disk to perform the vulnerability scan on the application, whether it is secure, especially in terms of the open source application. Especially some of those customers who are using our GuardSquare solutions. So probably, and it's congratulations to you, because you understand there's a needs of the protection against your mobile application. But in today's core session, we are talking about the web application firewall. How does it really expanded on the existing protection that to your mobile application? First thing is that GuardSquare is always focusing on securing mobile application against reverse engineering, tampering, unauthorized access through advanced techniques like code obfuscation, encryption, runtime application, self-protection, and issue the application from the potential exploits. But with Penta security and its web application firewall, it secure the backend system from the applications and APIs that protecting against common web threats like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. And also, of course, is DDoS. It adds a protective barrier against network and application level attacks. And of course, there is enhanced API security. A mobile that will enable you to extensively secure your iOS apps and Android apps, and also SDK, right, with the multiple layers of wraps and code hardening. With code hardening and wraps combined, you can prevent the discovery of an API or tokens used and API calls. But Penta security WAF, all right, or the WAF can monitor API requests in real time, blocking malicious requests before they reach the backend. So when it comes together, they actually create a comprehensive shield for both front end and back end APIs and minimizing the risk of unauthorized access and data leakage. So that is on the development side. And of course, when we have development and we have in use, this is where the Penta security WAF that I explained earlier. And also we come working together with Ubico for the secure authentication, right? So it's a passwordless authentication token. And of course, after we have protecting our information through development or while in use, is always that how do we really monitor the threat is ongoing. So and for all our application and the solutions that we have, we always have a real-time threat monitoring as well as a threat data for the future product enhancement. That is very important because the security is an ongoing process. There is no finish line. So it's an ongoing process. It's always that the attacker will always find whatever the vulnerability that in your application to attack your application. Okay, so without further ado, that I will hand over to Erik, our subject matter expert. So over to you, Erik.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's really awesome to be here to be able to share some, of what we do with every one of you here. Thank you so much for your time. Whichever time zone you're in, it's morning to me here, so good morning to you. It might be afternoon or evening on your side. All right. Basically, I will go through a very simple presentation because I believe there are different people with different skill sets and different knowledge within the call. But for the benefits of everyone, I'll make it very simple. All right. Of course, at the end of the session, if you want more information, please feel free to talk to Brian, talk to myself, talk to the team. All right. Once again, I'm Erik Tan from Penta Security. I'm based in Singapore. I'm also an ESCO member of CSCIS, where we do cyber studies and stuff like that together in the region. All right. So the topic today is really how we can maximize or leverage on things that is available in the market to keep your system more secure. We understand that threats are evolving, they are changing every day. All right, now with AI, with everything, the attacks are getting a lot more sophisticated. So that's where we hope that we can be your partner in securing your system against all these threats. So, without further ado, let me proceed on. All right, so first thing first, what is a web application? All right. By definition, any program that is accessed over a network connection using HTTP, HTTPS itself is a web application. All right. So if you have something that people need to log into the through the web itself, that's a web application. And what are the risks? All right. Web applications are often linked to your database. They often have personal information. They often have a lot of payments information, etc. So in the world of the web applications, in the so-called OSI model, they call it a layer 7, all right, which is the data layer. All right. And there is a guideline which is using the OSWAS top 10, which lists the top 10 risks of this web application of what it faces. All right. The only issues that I have with them is that the top 10, the latest updated list was of 2021. They are working to come up with the 2025, which should be out no later than the first half of next year. All right. But that also means that there is a gap between 2021 and the next update. All right. And web application, is it risky? And does it often occurs? I mean, risk management, we will often look at this, right? Is it high risk, mid risk, low risk, and how often does it occurs? All right, for web application, it is extremely high in occurrence because of two primary reasons. All right, one is the ease of access. It is web-based, it is linked through the internet. Anyone and everyone may be able to access to it. All right, secondly itself is the ease of attacks. All right, luckily for working together with Matrix, they do have the part that make the secure programming better to check whether there's any vulnerabilities on that. So in terms of that, that part is more or less covered, as well as the configuration part. All right, but for more or most of the others itself, there are often issues be in the programming, the coding, because the coder are not well versed in cyber, and no, that's why when they code, they get it to work, but they open up certain backdoors. That is an issue in there. All right, so because of this, is often everywhere. All right, so no, these are some stats that you can easily pull up online. Web application and API attacks grow a lot. All right, and over the years, year on year, it's like at least minimally 40-50% based on whichever region you're looking at. So it's very, very common. And I mean, even, and for the top 10 threat itself, these are some of them only. I just pull up the top 4 of them just to show what sort of threats are there. All right, injection, this is very, very common. All right, but the most common part of this will be the SQL injection, because SQL injection is something that is so commonly used for SQL programming. So it is everywhere. So what they do, they trick the application into executing an unintended command. All right. Other things inside the top 10 threat itself will be one of the most common, will be cross-site scripting. Right, they will treat you into going other pages, input other fields and whatsoever, and that is often linked to defacement, for example. All right, broken access control, where they will gain the access, they will take someone's ID, they will take someone's password, they hack it through and gain the access into your system. And because application often stop to the database to pull out information, they might have unauthorized access using the broken access control. All right. One more very, very common threat is actually misconfiguration. A lot of people have a lot of system in place, but one or two misconfiguration, it renders it useless. All right. It is very, very common. There are major organizations, there are major enterprise with millions of dollars on system, but misconfiguration and cause it to flop. All right. I think some of the common cases that you can see, will be even like for Malaysia Airlines, they have a data breach 2021, Astro, iPay, for example, with all the sensitive data leakages and such. If you are in Malaysia itself, I think Malaysia government websites, there were a lot of defacement in 2021. All right, and honestly, even now in Indonesia, the government, the educational segment is still facing this issue. All right, they have their education website, people go in and it went to, guess what? A casino website, a gambling online site, and it is causing a lot of issue. All right. Yes, of course, we are talking to them there. So hopefully, we can work with them too in that aspect. All right. So these are some of the impact that we are looking at: financial losses, the trust erosion, the sensitive data leakages, defacement, even the ransomware. When they take the ID, they go in, they lock down your system, they encrypt it, and then you have to pay. WannaCry is one of the most famous or infamous in the history in recent years. So yeah, so take note of that. Uber was fined for legal consequences because they did not protect the data. All right, so these are the impact to businesses. How real is it? Very, very real. All right, we have SMBs from small, medium to large facing such issues almost every day. Okay, so so when we look at protection, thanks to Brian for the early introduction of WAF or WAAP. So in short, WAAP is Web Application and API Protection. All right. The previous name to that is Web Application Firewall. All right. When you come across the word firewall, you may think that it is same as the one you use for your network layer. No, like those Fortinet, Palo Alto, but I can tell you it works completely different. Because for web application firewall or web application and API solution, we are only interested and looking at only layer 7, the data that pass around, and the analytic engine behind this works completely different compared to the general firewall that we are talking about. All right. So when we look into a good solution, what do we want, right? We want effective protection against unknown threat. This is very, very important because why? Remember my starting, the threats are evolving. The things are coming more and more because of AI, of sophistication itself. There are so many bots and stuff like that. So what happened when you come across a solution? You it is recommended to see how well they can protect against unknown threats, threats that is new, that is going through a different patterns as what that is already known. All right. There are many vendors out there, many solutions out there that will claim to give you a 0-day protection. Yes, I can tell you that is true. It is 0-day. The question that you may need to ask them is 0-day, but how many hours? What is the gap there? That's we are looking at. All right. 95% or more of the engine outside are using a signature-based engine. They need to match with certain lines. A lot of them claim that now they are using AI, they are using behavior, they are using a lot of things, but in reality itself, you really have to try out to see if it really works. All right. Later I'll go into our features that you can also understand better. Okay, so the second point that we look at is like what Brian mentioned earlier too, API and bot actually, because it's like so commonly used, so easy to use. A lot of applications also need bots to function. So we also cannot kill all the bots. So that is where our solution comes in play to make sure that only the good allowed bots are able to function and not any other bots. All right. And actually, one of the most important point in any solution that you implement is the user experience. All right. Does the user feel that, oh, there's a hiccups, I cannot log in. Oh, what happened? How come it's slow now? So that is the problem in some solutions out there. Upon implementation, there's latency, there's lag. No, true user cannot log in. All right. It is also very common in the industry of WAP that this occurs for users of the other solutions out there. But I will show how we can make it quite different in the later slides itself. All right. So the main thing that makes it very different is our engine. All right. The solution that we use or we brand is Wapples. Wapples, and it's not apples like what some people say. So yeah, it's Wapples. All right. The engine behind it, it's a patented technology. So what we do is we analyze the traffic coming in. We don't use signature. It uses a logic detection behavior engine for the past 17 years to analyze and detect the threats. So there is a long history with it. There's a long term of growth and improvement that we follows with it. So what it does, the traffic comes in, we will detect what it tries to do. All right. So far, we have only 40 logic rules. And based on that 40 rules, it easily surpass any of those signature-based engine with 30,000, 40,000 signatures with them. All right. And these rules, the good things is that it also minimizes false positive, which means that when your legit user goes in itself, they will not get blocked out, they will not get locked out. They will be able to serve as it is, they will have no issues on their end. And it means that you will have no complaints that comes and say, hey, how come tech, my things cannot go in, what happened? All right, so that part is minimized. All right, it also comes with a comprehensive bots and API protections. So basically itself, we protect bots against malicious bot in real time using fingerprinting, using captcha, using a lot of other techniques. All right, I will not really go in depth into this part of it because I think we can have our conversation after the session if you are interested to really find out more for the benefits of everyone. All right, for APIs, all this, we also have comprehensive code injection protection. We protect against SQL, no SQL, SPUF, everything. All right. There will be a simple example later that you can take a look. All right. One more of the features that we usually will bring out is that we also protect against data loss prevention. So we are able to mask sensitive data when it goes out of the application. For example, your IC number, your passport number, your credit card number. So anything with along that line, the format that goes out of the system, we will be able to mask it off. All right. So for this engine itself, it has been proven, it has been sent to test, it has been trialed by many people itself. This is one of the few reports that has been done by independent assessors. So basically itself, when it comes to true positive, what we mean by that is means that detection of a threat. We are the highest compared to all the competitors. I cannot reveal who they are due to certain sensitivity, but they are all those well-known guys out there. All right, and then when it comes to like the false positive rate, false positive rate at the bottom left, if you take a look itself, it refers to legit users being locked out of the system, unable to access. All right. So basically for us, no, at default, it's like 0%. No one get locked out. But in terms of security, we are better than the rest. And that is before refinement, fine-tuning, and making fine adjustment to configurations. All right. So no, how it actually works, like I say, it analyzes the traffic as it comes in. So we actually take the HTTP construction itself, the whole header that comes in itself, we break it down and send it to the respective part to check through. Like I say, we have 40 rules. It depends on how we activate the rules itself. Then they will do the check to see whether it works or it not works. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Is it trying to do something funny or it's not? So to our engine, every traffic that comes in is a 0-day track. We treat everyone as a 0-day. We don't go and match and say ABC 123. This doesn't match. Okay, you go through. No, we don't. Every signature, every traffic that comes in itself, we will check to make sure that it is fine to go through. So that is one of the big difference. All right. So for example of how we protect against SQL injection, like I say, we analyze the thing. So when it comes to the SQL queries part itself, the detection engine will take in place and they will detect like unexpected keywords, for example, within the SQL to see, no, is there anyone that tamper with the coding or that coding shouldn't be in that way, all right? Because we do have our smart engine behind, we do have our machine learning and AI behind that helps in this functions. All right, so we examines the user input fields, detect it, and it is a bit weird itself, then we will highlight it, we'll flash it out. All right. So it will also come to a contextual analysis where we will actually see how it tries to behave. So that is one part that most other systems, they won't be able to do that, but Whoopers, we do it. All right. So when it comes to like malicious file, even people attach a file, send it. No, you want to attach something, but they might attach something that's executable, for example, and then hack into the system. With Whoppers, all this can be prevented. All right. So we check against the file type. For example, like a .jpg, it shouldn't be executable. But if the Whoppers detect, hey, there is something inside within the .jpg that is executable, we will raise it up, we will flag it out, we will block it out to keep your system safe. All right, so these are only some simple examples. I only take like 3 of them so that it's easier for everyone. Okay, API tracks, that is one of the major concerns now because everyone is connecting through APIs. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier itself. No, we actually check the integrity, check the format, check the security of it to make sure that there are no breaches, there are no tampering, that is safe for it to be executed, for example. Okay, so this itself is just a simple sharing for understanding. So you might ask like, where is WAP deployed? Usually we sit just in front of an app server. If yours is in on the cloud, we will sit just before your your infrastructure, your servers that goes out to the internet. All right. So in a typical setup, you have the people that accessing your application on the left. You may have your DDoS, your network switch, your network firewall, depending on how it's set up itself. And then as it flow across that network firewall, usually it will go to a SIEM for detection of the early breach at layer 3 and 4. And then it goes into your load balancing, your ADC, for example, it will hit the wall right before the app server. Okay, this is like the final gate, the final lock there to make sure that everything is safe. No, if you go through immigration, by the immigration officer to make sure that, oh yeah, okay, you're the right person, stamp cross, okay, please cross. All right, so that's where the WAAP sits in. And that will keep the app server protected and in turns also help to keep your data protected. All right. So after talking so much, maybe I also give a little introduction of who we are. All right, we are Penta Security. We are not a new bird on the street, a new startup, and tell you that we have the best sophisticated solution out there. No, we are not. We are a very traditional solution provider. We are one of the top in Korea itself. No, we house the government, the bank, the stock market, financial institution, the SMBs, no, from the biggest to the smallest, all our customers in Korea, right? A little example of what we do, the intelligent transport system in Korea itself, we have been the government partners or contractor for the past 15 years at least. We are the one and only one for the past 15 years that we secured the communications between the vehicles and the lampposts and vehicles and lampposts as part of the intelligent transport system. All right. The military, they are our customers in Korea too. Honestly, even in Malaysia, we do have certain customers in that group, but I cannot reveal who they are, as well as certain ministry that we are working with too, even in Malaysia. In Indonesia, we also have financial institutions that we are working with together with us. So we are not a new startup. We are very established. We are one of the top in South Korea. We have 20 years of work done, and we are very, very, very focused. All right. We do not go wild, why and go wow and tell you that, yeah, I have everything under the sun that you need. You want one thing, I give you everything else. No, we don't, because we are very focused. We focus on protecting your layer 7. We make sure your layer 7 that goes to your database is very, very secure. And that's what we focus in. All right, in Korea, we only do 3 main category of enterprise solution. One is the WAFers, the WAF or Web Application Firewall and API protection. That arises because of the database protection that we do in Korea. In Korea, we are the first PKI company, a public key infrastructure company that was set up then. So what we do a lot of database encryption. We protect the keys. We make sure that all the database are secure. Like I say, from government, military to financial institution, the stock market, the banks, the insurance, for example, anyone there. All right, for the long numbers of years, and because we protect the database, we realize the attacks come in through, guess where? Web application. All right, so web application attack has been a long going thing for 20-30 years. It's just that now the attack got more sophisticated, and that's why we realized that, oh, we have to come up and see who else we can help out with. All right, so we are very focused. We do database encryption, we do web application firewall, and the last thing that we do is actually a single sign-on solution. Why? Also because when it comes to a database, once you have the in-root protected, which is your application, where is the next possible breach? Honestly, is the logins, the access to the system. No, so that's where the single sign-on comes in play. So with these 3 main core enterprise solution that we have, we managed to keep all our customers very, very satisfied and very happy with us. All right, so like Hyundai, Samsung, they are all our customers in Korea too. All right, the last thing that we do, is that to share is that we develop all our technology in-house. We host a lot of patents, be it domestic and international, on our technology, be it on database encryption, be it on web application firewall and API protection, be it on single sign-on. All right, a lot of other providers out there, they uses a lot of free engines for web application protection, and then they charge you a fee for that. All right, there are free engines out there. I will not say who uses what, and usually these are those that are actually good in firewall, for example, switches, for example, but not the player or the true player of web application protection. But because they got the free engine in, they say that, okay, I also have a next gen firewall and stuff like that. You do want to activate it, it's only at this fee. All right. Is that useful for known threats? Yes. For unknown threats, I do not know. It will be a question mark, a big question mark. All right. So these are some things just to share. Some case study maybe. a lot of these are Korean case studies because like I say we are very, very established there. Yeah, looking at, we are in the south, where the attacks come from, north, south, east, west, right? So yeah. This is one of the banks. So basically what they do, they have multiple so-called backup tenancy. They have on the cloud, they have on premise and everything else. All right, they have an issue. They want to make sure that the banking system is stable. They're using a lot of applications as usual. In a financial institution, they have a logistic system, they have live system, they have client system. It's all over the place. All right. So what we do itself, we put in our whoppers, we put in for quadruple redundancy. That is like redundancy of redundancy of redundancy to make sure that there's no failure. Well, of course. What we do is we actually link up the on-prem to the cloud to everything that we have. All right, our solutions, we have hardware on-premise. We have software appliances that you can put into your private clouds. You can put into your infrastructure. We have also as a service. All right, but as a service, for the smallest SMB, it's very, very popular because it is operational cost rather than high cost upfront. Right? So what we do for these banks, we put in the whoppers, and what they achieve itself, they have the high service availability. They are not having any lag, any customer experience being disrupted. So they are very, very happy with us. All right. So another case study itself, no government institution is a new government agencies itself that they set up. So they same thing, government, right? They want to look good, they cannot get defacement, for example, and stuff like that. So no, they put our workers there, and they give them all the protection that they need. They sleep well, they rest well, they are not worried. They can go and eat Uncle Roger fried rice in Kuala Lumpur now. Also, yeah, so I'm sorry for that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it defends all the attacks against them. No, that's what we can do. No, even for SMBs, this is an e-commerce website, e-commerce transaction that goes in and out. 150,000 daily visitors. When you say for e-commerce, is it a lot? I think that's decent. Enough for them to do some business there. So no, they have the appliance redundancy to prevent service failure. They have the compliance itself. Everything is all protected because of no whoppers. The bot itself, they are cleared because they do run bots on their applications, and they are able to select which bots itself they can use and not use. No, IP itself, we know certain features itself. I did not go in depth because it's more of an introduction. But of course, we are, like I said earlier, we are more than happy to share more with you all in private after the session, right? Just let us know anytime, right? But end of the day, you sleep well with our workers. All right. So no, a quick summary. Web application security is crucial. I mean, end of the day, whichever solution or vendors you prefer is really up to individual preference. All right. But the few things really to take note of: can they protect against the unknown threats, the real unknowns? All right. A lot of vendors of 0 day, they need at least 2 hours for the signature to come out for the patch. At least 2 hours. For more complicated tracks, the new tracks that come out, the research Intel lab takes about 4 hours on average. All right. No, how I know this? Because I have friends around. No, Trend Micro Intel lab is in Philippines. I have some data on them too. So that's on average, even for an endpoint where they have such a huge group on it, working on that. Yeah. So web application security is very crucial. It's very important because like I mentioned earlier in the slide, it is very, very accessible. Everyone can access to it, can do a lot of things through the website on it. It is very easy to attack compared to a lot of things. All right. Because if the programming is not done properly, if you all didn't use JScramble or whatsoever that Brian and gang have, you might be open up to a lot of attacks at the coding level itself. And if you don't have a web application that protects any ongoing traffic itself, you're in for a huge surprise anytime. All right, so do take care of that. Please be very careful. Lastly, end of the day, whatever system that you put in place, whatever that you put to keep yourself sleeping peacefully and fine, always make sure the user also can sleep nicely. Please give them a good experience. No, go for a low positive, false positive rate that don't get them locked out, don't get having problem accessing your system. And no, end of the day, we will be able to achieve win-win for yourself, for ourselves, for everyone. All right, so yeah, that's my summary and key takeaway. It's a short session, I think. So yeah, Brian, you have anything to share?
Yeah, it's nice, for your sharing. Thank you so much, Eric. Yeah, I think now is actually a question time. So, for the participants, if you have any questions that is you would like to know about the Penta security, or probably if not Penta security, some questions that you might post to me on the on the application security, web or mobile, please to do so. Yeah. Or you can put if you want to open your mic and ask the questions directly, or you want to put it on the chat, is also welcome. Questions that you have?
I know Malaysia recently has activated the new data protection act and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
does any of you like face any challenges in that area or no? Just feel
Yeah.
free to share.
Okay, probably let me ask the questions. I think while we are waiting for some questions from the participants, um as a lot of more businesses are moving into, even now we're talking about the FSI that moving to the cloud, either it's Azure or AWS or some of the independents hosting companies, so they already something that they offer, especially for this whatever application and API security solution.
Mm.
So what makes Penta Security Wapples outstand against the rest of those that offer in the cloud provider?
Okay, Brian, that's a great question that we always face with every time. All right, actually, we also work very closely with cloud providers like AWS. We are one of their so-called premium providers in terms of the web application protection. So what we do with them, for example, right? The end user, when they subscribe to AWS Cloud and AWS Wolf, for example, they actually engage our services to come in and input our rule sets, because our rule sets works with our engine, the CoSec engine, which is very, very different compared to whoever out there. And
Right.
then we also have to configure. Remember, misconfiguration is one of the serious issue faced in
Yeah.
everywhere. All
Correct.
right, so we input our rule set, we configure for them itself, and then we also provide them with a dashboard for AWS user that they can thereafter monitor. So we do also work together with cloud providers for this. All right, so that is for what those, let's say they are on AWS. For those they have their private cloud, that's where our software appliances can come in play. We are installed together with your team onto their premises,
Yeah,
onto their cloud
definitely.
infrastructure, monitor, configure, tune it to work perfectly for them. And they're all good to run on that. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
I actually saw a question whether WordPress is software based. We been so focused in this area. We have hardware appliances, we have software appliances that you can load into your VM, that you can load into your infrastructures, and we also have as a service. All right, but the one for as a service itself, the features are a bit more less configurable. So it really depends. Most SMBs, they prefer that because the cost wise is also a bit different. But those that are having a lot of traffic, we usually advise you to get be the hardware appliances or the software appliances. All right. Okay, let me see what is the other questions. Okay, for just to add on, because for like AWS itself, right? Their Wolf itself, they do not have ability to do like deep inspections. Their engine works very differently. All right, so that's also where we actually value add. That is a service that is very popular in Korea, in Japan. Right, Japan, we are one of the biggest player there in this field too. So you can understand Japanese quality, Korean quality is good lah. Right, so yeah. Let me see. Is there another question? Is at the server side. Okay. attack is on the client side. Okay, the end of the day is that if it's trying to access into the app server, right? We, like what I mentioned, we are the last gate of defense there.
Yep.
Anyone that comes in and I put on the mask, I pretend to an old lady with an old passport to come in, we'll take it out, we'll strip it apart. Hey, no man, you're a young lady to come in, or you're a young guy with a mustache. Sorry, you're not allowed access. All right. So which is why we are always sitting in front of the app servers. Because end of the day, we want to protect and make sure that every access that comes in is legit, is valid, it's not trying to do something funny to the system and causes any breach. All right. Okay, sorry. I'm reading the questions
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why you
Meaning,
see my
meaning
eyes.
if if installed on the private cloud, do we need a new VM? If let's say the webhost is gonna be installed in a
Mm,
private cloud, so probably that they need to create a new
mm.
VM, or it can be run on probably, I don't know, add on top that can containerize container, Docker's container and stuff like that.
Okay, that one I would have to say, we will have to understand how you're running your VMs and your things itself. Preferably, if we can, we always prefer it to be a standalone. All right, so that all the traffic, everything, there won't be any sharing of resources, any sharing of or such stuff that may cause certain lags. All right. But of course it depends, like I said, because if your application running the traffic is not that high of volume, your current infra resources has more than enough to sustain and keep it supported, then yes, we can actually just work on that. All right.
Yeah.
But preferably in all cases, we recommend it to be a separate one with their own resources, because that is your last gate. This is really your last gate before it goes into your system, right? You don't want your immigration counter to have like small little booth there and check and stamp passport. You want it something decent that people cannot dash through. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it works
exactly.
on the same concept on that. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So any other questions that the floors have? What's the
What
different
is
wobbles and waff?
okay? Whoppers is the brand name. Yeah, so we brand our wallpapers. If you see my background wallpaper, you also see CrowdBrick. CrowdBrick is our WAF as a service, or WAP as a
Yep.
service in recent terms. The Diamo and My Diamo, the top two that you see is basically our database encryption solution. Not data encryption, but database encryption. So we work across a wide spectrum of databases. We can encrypt them all and then manage them under one system, for example. All right, we do that for AIA Prudential in Korea. For the bank statute. All right, ISI Plus is our single sign-on solution. So single sign-on itself, well, if you are interested, we can talk separately on that. As well as the last one you see as AutoCrypt. That one is more of for smart mobility. So like EVs, electric vehicles, for autonomous vehicles, for example, any of these smart mobility, we have specific solutions for that too. All right. Okay.
And
Explain how DB encryption work? DB encryption will take at least an hour, sir.
yeah, probably
Okay.
I would suggest that Mr. Teng, that we can organize a different sessions that
Yeah.
focusing on about the DB encryptions, to you and your team as well. Yeah.
Mm. I think that will work better. All right.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
Brian will have to organize, then
Sure, sure,
I'll
sure.
get our team in together to explain to you how it really works, so that you can consider that next
Yeah.
in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally have a questions that I want to ask, that as Malaysia is moving into e-invoicing, there's a concern about, especially because the e-invoicing, that by the submission of the e-invoice is two-way. One is for the SMEs, it can be easily through the portal, and then and individually they upload it into the portal. But
Mm,
the other one will be using the API, whereby the invoice will send through the API to our custom or the IRB for the validation, and there is where there is a return of the validation back to the business application or the ERP system. So there are concern about this area, where some of the customers comes to us and asking that, whether how do the weapon solutions are able to help them, in this case, and what kind of vulnerability that, based on experience, that probably the implementation globally, that is might be a point where the exploitation that can happen. Yeah.
Okay, around for such things usually, right, the government side, from the way of their back end to their
Yep.
API, I think that is really under
Yep.
their control.
Yep.
So what we are
Absolutely.
always concerned about is on our handshake with the API, how our system reacts to the handshake and keep it protected, right? Okay, wait, I just saw a note. Okay, I just realized my team is also here. Would anyone from my team would like to say hi to the people here and also explain that? Okay, before they come online, maybe I just continue sharing. Yeah, so basically, it's what we are concerned is on the API handshake on our part, as well as how it goes on to our backend to transfer the data and things
Exactly.
like that. So we put in the warpers on this part to make sure that our part is also secured. Right, we can't do much to the government end
Exactly.
unless I don't know if there's a government representative here, then we can talk separate on how we can protect your end. But
Yeah.
otherwise, on our end, on enterprise and SMBs end itself, what we do is we ensure our sites are well protected because honestly, even though with their API, we thought that it is secure, we never know. So it is our duty to make sure also our part is secure. So that's where Whoppers can come in to make sure that this part of it, this fence is being built up on our side. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Thank you so much, Eric. Yeah. Um, yeah. Any other questions that you may have? I know some of you are from the retail or the commercial side. So probably e-commerce side. So probably that you have some questions that you might have. You can always put it here. So we have we still have some time here.
Okay, and
We're
anyway,
gonna
if
end.
you're
Yeah.
if and you are from like e-commerce or anywhere with very high transactional volume itself, just think about something. 40 logic rules versus 40,000 signatures. How will the traffic perform? All right. So that is something that I always ask the users itself to think about. No, traditional system, most of them out there uses signatures. It was only 15,000 signatures, now easily 20, 30,000 because there's AI attack, there's everything else. It keep building up. So even if take it as 20,000, 30,000 signatures, imagine a traffic coming through, get bank one, get bank two, get bank three to clear it all, to go through into the app server and coming back, compared to one that is split up, go into 40 rules, go in. The speed is totally different. All right. On our end, we were also very happy to carry out POC with any of you to carry out trials if you want to
Yep.
really try it out. So just feel free to let Brian and team
Yep.
know. We can work together in that. We can also have a more detailed session if you're really interested to know all the features that we have. We
Exactly.
can definitely have that anytime too. All right, just
Yep.
feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably I'll share my emails here. So this is my email. So you can write it down. Um, um, just if you have any questions that you want to ask, just always drop me an email. Yeah, and we can exchange my phone number with you later on. And of course that is see how we can try to help. That's the most important,
Yep.
right?
We want everyone to sleep peacefully, have fun, enjoy, and keep
Yeah,
things going well.
exactly, exactly. I also type in my email address on the chat for those who want to reach out to me, and also my phone number. Okay. And any other questions from the floor before we gonna end this? Right. If no, then thank you so much everyone for joining us today, and thanks Eric. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank,
And
thank you so
of course
much.